Καλησπέρα σε όλους τους τηλεπαρόντες, τηλεπαρούσες και σε όλα τα άτομα τα οποία βρίσκονται σήμερα στην αίθουσα μαζί μας στο Ανοιχτό Πανεπιστήμιο Κύπρου. Εκ μέρους του Ανοιχτού Πανεπιστήμιου Κύπρου θα ήθελα να σας καλωσορίσω στη σημερινή ανοιχτή διάλεξη, υβριδική διάλεξη, με θέμα το ChatGPT, ban it or bound it. Έχουμε την τιμή να φιλοξενούμε αυτή την εβδομάδα καθηγητή από το Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University, τον Dr. Zhang, ο οποίος επισκέπτεται το πανεπιστήμιο μας στο πλαίσιο του προγράμματος Erasmus Διεθνούς Κινητικότητας. Σήμερα είναι η ανοιχτή διάλεξη, η οποία είναι ανοιχτή σε όλους και ευχαριστούμε θερμά για τη συμμετοχή σας. Θα γυρίσω στην αγγλική γλώσσα έτσι ώστε να μπορεί να μας καταλάβει και ο μελετής μας. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, those that are present online, those that are with us with physical presence today, and we thank you for your participation. We'll have the pleasure to host this week under the Erasmus International Mobility Program, Dr. Zhang from the Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University from China. And it's a great honor, a great pleasure to have him with us this week. To give lectures and online workshops on issues that have to do with cognitive systems, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. So just to give you a brief profile of our guest speaker today, he's assistant professor at his university. He's also a member of the Professional Conduct Committee of the Association of Computational Linguistics. Dr. Zhang is also an honorary associate at the University of Liverpool in the UK, an adjunct faculty member of the Open University of Cyprus in the joint master's program in cognitive systems, and also the Northwestern Polytechnical University in China. His research interests cover translation technology, natural language processing, and computational cognition. And he's also a scientific member on top conferences in natural language processing such as ACL and ACL. So without further ado, I will give the floor to our guest speaker and thank him again for this participation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for Erica's introduction. This is the third lecture for me to conduct at Cyprus. The topic is ChatGPT. It was a very hot topic since the birth of ChatGPT in last November, and it is still the hot topic for us to discuss. Yes, it's 6 months past. ChatGPT has developed all over the world, and it says it can be used in every field. So I was requested to show some ChatGPT on today's lecture, but actually I can't. Actually, I had never tested ChatGPT because I'm not the registered account. I haven't the registered account of OpenAI. If I want to register on OpenAI, I need to use VPN in China, in mainland of China, and use VPN is not legal in China. So that's why I didn't test ChatGPT. But my friends, they have VPN, so they test for that. And I'm not worried about to demonstrate or to illustrate some ChatGPT functions for you because we can find the illustrations or the examples using of ChatGPT online everywhere. So no worry about that. And I can tell you that the nature of ChatGPT is a technology of natural language processing. So my research field is natural language processing, and I know better about ChatGPT. So today I just want to talk about some influence or impact or something on education. That is the influence of ChatGPT in education. So here is a very, very sharp idea: is that ban ChatGPT or bound ChatGPT. So I think I can leave more time for us to discuss tonight because it's a hot topic and it's worth to be discussion for the group or for all of us. Yeah. So Actually, I want to propose two questions in this lecture. That is, the first one, why do we afraid of ChatGPT? I mean, in schools and in universities. And the second is, what should we do when we know the nature of ChatGPT? So, as I said, we can find a lot of examples of ChatGPT application online. For example, ChatGPT can write the personal statements for our students when they apply for master degree or PhD degree, or to write some CVs for the applicants to apply for a job or something. And it can make some mathematics to calculate the numbers, and it can translate. It can translate, and it can write essays. So all these pictures are quoted from internet, and they are all the real happened. So the fears for our education staffs or for our teachers are always worrying about is, I think, 2 points. One is ChatGPT makes plagiarism, because ChatGPT can write essays, and our students will use ChatGPT to write essays, isn't it? So it may cause a kind of plagiarism. And second worry comes from ChatGPT reduces students' critical thinking, because it will make our students lazier. That is, they can take the knowledge of the internet directly, and they will not think about it more to learn it, just to use it. So we said that ChatGPT reduces students' critical thinking. It is saying so. It's not my idea. Okay. So let's discuss. Can ChatGPT make plagiarism? Can ChatGPT reduce students' critical thinking? So, for the first worry or the first fear that ChatGPT makes plagiarism, maybe comes from the story of Dr. Anthony Oman. He is a professor of philosophy at the North Michigan University, and he found that the best paper or the best essay in his class was produced or generated by ChatGPT. So he felt he felt to be cheated. So he proposed that I will innovate the examination methods to avoid the students to use ChatGPT. So for this issue, I take this essay generated by ChatGPT as a test. I'm not test ChatGPT, but I test the essay of the ChatGPT generated. That is, I copied the ChatGPT generated essay on India's globalization efforts to a copy detection software. We always used 1080in. So the result is, you may find 0%. That is, 1080in regards this essay is not a copy, is not a plagiarism. Okay, that doesn't mean the higher rate of similarity will be a plagiarism, but the 0 will not be the plagiarism. Okay, so that means Chomsky saying ChatGPT is high-tech plagiarism. It's true, isn't it? Because 1080in cannot detect the copy of this essay. And we all know that this essay was generated by machine, was generated by artificial intelligence. It's not generated. It's not written by students. So it seems that it's true ChatGPT makes plagiarism. But I may have a different idea about that, because I just did some research on copy detection 10 years ago. So it was funded by Chinese government science funding. So the title of that project is cross-lingual text copy detection. I involved in and as the co-PR for that. And my task is to calculate the text copy in English texts. My colleagues did so in Chinese texts and in other language texts. So my task is to do so in English text. At that time, 2010, there's no deep learning, no neural network. So what we did is just to use static method, that is use n-gram, that is the character sequence match detection. And I had a finding that the continuously 7 token sequence will be a criteria for the text copy. Okay, let's say like this. This is a system to test the plagiarism for a journal in their submission system. And I counted the continuously tokens, the shortest one, this one, to use the available resources in English. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's continuously 7 tokens. So that means if here is some 7 continuous tokens can be found from after source or after side resources or from other papers, this sentence will be regarded or will be judged as a copy. So the 7 token sequence also include the punctuation. So in this case, if the ChatGPT generated text have continuously 7 tokens, it will be found as a copy or as a plagiarism. Why that essay was not detected out? That means in that essay, there's no 7 continuously tokens occurs, as same as the other texts. So what happened? But we know that it was generated by machine. Why tech cannot test it? So I can tell you the inside of such kinds of results. We all know that ChatGPT is based on large language model. Okay, for this one, for the large language model. Actually, we have ever used the large language models for almost, let me say, 2 or 3 years already. When we're doing machine translation, use transformer model, and when we're doing questioning and answering other large language models. So large language model is not something new. ChatGPT also conducted based on that large language model. And NLP tasks is not changed. For example, machine translation, for text summarization, and for AI drawing asynchronous. These tasks still remain. The difference is the middle level, that's the prompt. That is, the users will ask ChatGPT to give him or her some results. Actually, we did so in our own way always. For example, we make the information retriever from Google, and we input keywords. Google will show us the retrieved outcomes for many pages it uses. Okay, the problem is, if someone is skillful in searching, he or she will find the information he or she needs quickly and sufficient, while another guy has less sufficient in searching skills. He or she may find less information he needs. So we call such kinds of searching skills in ChatGPT as prompt. That is, if our students have some techniques to give ChatGPT the reasonable and the skillful prompt, ChatGPT will give the users a better result. So we all know that ChatGPT is nothing new. It's still based on large language model, and it will complete natural language processing tasks. The only difference is how to ask ChatGPT to do so. If you are skillful in asking, you will get a better result. If you are lack of the skill to ask something, yes, you may need several rounds. For example, give more prompts to ChatGPT to do so. And how does the large language model work? Actually, it's no need for you to know more about how the large language model works. It's my job for tomorrow's lecture. But you only know that here, that present how important a token is in regards to the other tokens in the text sequence. So that means ChatGPT writes a paper or writes an essay is not 7 tokens to 7 tokens, but 1 token to 1 token. That is prediction. When it writes down 1 token, it will predict what will be the next token. And then, what's the next one? It will write down the essays word by word, not sentence by sentence. If ChatGPT writes essays sentence by sentence, turn it in will detect it. But now it's written one by one, word by word. How should turn it in to text? We know that the principle is continuously 7 tokens. So it's 1 word, it's 1 token. How? No idea. So in this case, turn it in, admit, and they said, today educators are facing a new frontier with AI writing and ChatGPT, and they promise to deal with this job, to deal with this challenge, that is, and they have 98% confidence to solve it. Do you believe it? And also, OpenAI announced that ChatGPT just creates a new tool to catch students trying to cheat using ChatGPT. That is, ChatGPT will detect ChatGPT. So it doesn't matter for TradingIn or for OpenAI to develop the tools to prevent the plagiarism. As an educator, my idea is we can push such kinds of words, plagiarism, copy, it's just aside. Do not think about it. And first, we trust our students. We believe our students. They will not make any plagiarism in the text, in the essay writing, because education is different. Say, if we cannot detect the plagiarism from ChatGPT, if we cannot make sure this tool is useful or is harmful to our students, here is the shortcut to do so, to prevent, that is, ban it, directly ban it. Yes, some schools did so. For example, the schools in New York City and University of Hong Kong and Italy, isn't it? Oh yes, maybe as the government of a country to ban a software might be different to the ban from a university or a school, but that is not our point. It's not the story. But ban it is a direct way. The problem is can we ban them all? These are all large language models. We ban ChatGPT. Can we ban all of these large language models? Of course not. Of course not. So if we cannot ban it, why do we need to ban it? So another way is ban it. How to ban it? Okay, from this year, the industry makes some actions and first in China. Here is a regulation released on AIGC, Artificial Intelligence Generated Content, launched by Industry and Information Department of China, which says blah 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 blah. It's written in Chinese. Of course, you do not know. I will let you know. Here I use ChatGPT-alike product in China named Yongyi. Okay, it is a software looks like ChatGPT. So I ask Yongyi, please translate this passage into English. Okay, it did so. It did so. For the second one, it did so. But I find that on my mobile phone, the screen is limited and it cannot show all of them. So I asked this software, please split the translation with two screens. It split it, but still with one screen, but with part 1 and part 2. Okay, it can understand partially what I said. So I asked it again, please split into 2 parts and display twice. I think my explanation is clear. The result is it showed me in 2 parts in one screen, but in Chinese. So I felt it's stupid. So, but it gave me a clue that I can split the original text into 2 parts and ask this software twice. So you will get this one. Okay, I split I copy the first part of the original text here. It gave me a translation, and I input the second part of the text. It gave me the second part translation. So it's just as the illustrate or the demonstration of ChatGPT. Yes, I told you, Yongyi is a ChatGPT-alike product. So we can say in the regulation, it specified the identification requirements for deep synthesis service providers. First, the service provider should adopt technical measures and identifiers that do not affect user use to the information content generated or edited using their services. Okay, even though this translation is not perfect, but we can know that the policy or the regulation says if users want to use AIGC content, the AIGC content should be tagged or should be identified as AI generated. So this is the bound. This is the bound. That is, we bound ChatGPT to say, okay, this is generated by AI. If our students want to use AIGC, it should let us know this part is AIGC productive or it's his or her own writing. And now Chinese government has upgraded the regulation to a legal policy. That is, here is a legal policy name entitled AIGC Service Management. It's a draft. And on the website of Chinese government, they are asking for some comments to the public. And that means all the Chinese people can view this draft and propose some comments to say, do we need to tag the AIGC content or not? I think this is a kind of bound. And that is also a kind of how to use the AI technologies more reasonable. Okay. Here is another question is, I do not support to ban it because I think what we should ban is not ChatGPT, but what we should ban is Turned-in. Why? The question is Turned-in safe enough? Let's say, what's Turned-in? Turned-in is an internet-based plagiarism detection service run by the American company Turned-in LLC, a subsidiary of Advanced Publications. Okay, it's a company in America, in the United States of America. Okay, so all of our FYP thesis, final year project thesis for BA students and for undergraduate students and MA thesis and PhD thesis, all these theses should pass Turned-in, isn't it? If not, we will regard this kind of thesis is a plagiarism. But could we think about it further? We upload our students' essays, we upload our students' theses, and we get a rate of similarity. So where is the manuscripts? Where is the thesis? Where is the essays? They were stored in the servers of Turned-in, isn't it? So if there's some essays or some dissertation in confidential, how should we do? Till now, all of our students' writing will be tested by Turned-in. That is, all of our students' writing will be stored in Turned-in service. So if there are some data need to be protected, if there are some data in confidential, that will be explored, isn't it? So why not ban Turned-in? that is ethical issue. That is the data protection. So for any apps or softwares use cloud storage. For example, if we want to just convert a PDF into DOC, some students may like to upload to the internet to a website, and the website will give it the results of the conversion. But the PDF is stored in such kinds of server. So this is very dangerous. Okay. And then I will say something about the second worry. The worry is ChatGPT will reduce our students' critical thinking. So, you know, my interest is machine translation, and I always test the new technologies with translation. So here is a Chinese sentence translation into English. Here, the tester set a conversation with ChatGPT for this sentence translation with more than 10 rounds conversation. That is, for the first time, ChatGPT gave an unqualified, unsatisfied translation. And the tester pointed out which part is not correct. Please correct. And third time, fourth time, till ChatGPT gave a satisfied translation. So, I'm thinking about, that's what we need. We need to teach our students translation in this way. That is, and first, your translation is not good. And second time, modify it or revise it. Third time, revise again, till you get a perfect translation. So students can learn something from the revision, isn't it? So why do we call that our students lacks of critical thinking? Why do we see that ChatGPT will reduce our students' critical thinking? They can ask questions, they can question the translation of the machine. That means they have critical thinking, and it will strengthen students' critical thinking. And I will let you know how of my colleagues do with ChatGPT or ChatGPT alike products. Okay, I will. It's a short video I share with you. Okay, after you watch the video, I will explain. Okay, this is an example of translation teaching. That is, the teacher, I will show it again. Play it again, yeah. Clean. Okay. Okay, at first, the teacher input a Chinese sentence, and of course, ChatGPT, a like product, will generate the machine translation. And then the teacher says, please think about this translation, and please propose the mistake or the translation errors you have ever found here. Okay, the students think that here is one word injecting used incorrectly. It's a translation error. So the students point out, do not use injecting this word. Okay. Okay, the ChatGPT revised. It's not ChatGPT. It's a ChatGPT alike. Okay, this software revised its own translation, and it shows why I revised my translation. Because this word is better. That word has such kinds of error. It's interesting. So why not use such kinds of teaching methodology to teach our students translation? That is, give the example and let our students to find the machine's translation error, and it can analyze the translation errors and give the revision. So it's better than the teachers to tell the students, okay, this translation is not good, you can revise it, blah, 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 blah. Isn't it? Okay, let's come back. So it will trace back to the structure of ChatGPT. So we said that the prompt is very important, or how to ask a question is very important, because ChatGPT uses a technology named RLHF, that is reinforcement learning from human feedback. That is, it can learn some useful information from humans' feedback, and it can revise its outputs automatically. And give more human feedbacks, it will generate the better results. The problem is, okay, I just got the news yesterday. ChatGPT will let you to turn off your chat history in ChatGPT. So here is the ChatGPT interface. There is one function that is enable chat history or close chat history. What's that mean? What does that mean? That is, ChatGPT, we are training its system, OpenAI training ChatGPT with the data before 2021. Before 2021. That is what we said, 175 million parameters are all stopped at 2021. For the recently and newest data, it depends on human feedback. That is, when we ask the questions to ChatGPT, this data will be used into the training system. So this is the newest data. But just because such kinds of newest data, Italian government banned ChatGPT in their country. So OpenAI decide, okay, I can add one function. That is, if you close your chat history, your chat history will not be used in training. But that means another thing is, if you turn off your chat history, you will not use ChatGPT anymore. unless you reopen the chat history. So it's a dilemma. It's a dilemma. So it says toggling off chat history means OpenAI won't use your conversations to train its models unless you reopen it. You close it, you cannot use your own data to train it. You can only use the data before 2021. That will cause maybe a poor output or a low quality of the output. But if you reopen or you open this function, OpenAI will use your own data. So it's a dilemma for the real users, for the end users. Do we use our own recently data, or because do we share our recently data, or do we only use the after-date data? No mind. Trying to trick ChatGPT and to test it is in majority, while using ChatGPT to grow the business is still in minority. So, to be or not to be, that is the question. Here, to be means B2B, business to business. So it seems that OpenAI open ChatGPT to the end users is not business to business, but business to customer, or B2C is to customer. It seems that if OpenAI regarded ChatGPT as a B2C product, ChatGPT will look like the birth of Google Translate, even like the birth of Google. That is, everybody can use it. Actually, it is. But when it achieved a very great performance, for example, it can write the perfect essays for us. I think ChatGPT will not be free anymore. That is, the end users, the customers, should pay for that. Now you can use it freely and without any payment, because OpenAI needs your data to improve ChatGPT's performance. That's it, and that's all. But if it is B2B, business to business, that will be another story. Actually, some of the companies are developing the product of ChatGPT alike, that is for B2B. So that will be another story. So that's all for my presentation. Oh, but I don't think it's my original ones. I forget something. We're talking about education, isn't it? So, say something about education. In my idea, the education will develop from 5 stages at first. The first stage is learning from teaching. That is, our students sit here and the teachers over there, and we taught them something, and the students will accept what the teachers say. That is the after-the-date teaching message. That is the teaching message lasts for so many years, even more than 1,000 years. So we do not appreciate for such kinds of teaching methodology anymore. Now, we think that learning from thinking, that is, our students can acquire or to obtain the knowledge more easily than before. You can see It's very easy to get knowledge they need from internet, from outside resources. It do not need our teachers to stand here to write, to read the book for them. No, not anymore. The students can get the knowledge from internet, from book, from other things. But they need a critical thinking. That is, what kind of saying or what kind of knowledge is true, what kind of knowledge is false. This is very, very important. Our students need to know which knowledge is what they need, if they are correct, what kind of knowledge they harvest from internet is not correct. They need to think about it. So the second stage is learning from thinking. And the third stage is learning from merging. How to say merging? Or we can say integrating. After they think about the knowledge they acquired, they classify the knowledge. This kind of knowledge is correct. That kind of knowledge is incorrect. So I push the incorrect knowledge off and just leave the correct knowledge. And among this knowledge, I need to use them. But how to use them? I need to use the knowledge I found and the knowledge in my brain, in my mind, and merge the two parts together. And I will form my own idea, my thought. Take an example of writing paper. Not all the words in a paper was generated or was produced by the writer. Actually, all of us have the same experience. We need to copy some ideas from others. We use quotation or citation, isn't it? So not all the words are all produced by ourselves. This is a kind of ability of merging others with your own. This is integrating. In this stage, we need to pay attention to some academic ethics. That is, if you use others' saying or others' idea, you need to cite them. That is, if our students want to use the content of artificial intelligence generated, we need to cite it. At least we tag it. This part was generated by machine. That's fine. So I do not think such kind of tag is a kind of plagiarism or copy, but it's merging or it's integrating. So the last stage is interesting driven learning. That is, based on thinking and merging, integrating, and what I did say, the first four stages. Okay, after the first four stages, our students will form his or her ideas on a subject, and such kind of subject will attract him or her to do further studies. That will be the interesting thing. That is, students feel that kind of research or such kind of writing is interesting. He will learn itself by himself or by herself. That is, will become the passive learning to active learning. And such kinds of habit will be beneficial to the student for all life. So, if so, why do we worry about the plagiarism caused by ChatGPT? And why do we worry about reducing of the critical thinking for the students? So no worry about that. So I want to know your idea. Let's discuss. And thank you for your attendance. And for the guys online, you can type your ideas in the chat room or I don't know. You can open your mic to say something or not. Okay. Any questions or any comments or any idea?